Now, let's continue telling you about the airstrikes by the Nigerian Air Force, as aircrafts have killed 28 terrorists in the Bassa community in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The terrorists were killed on Wednesday, September 11th, according to Deputy Director Information and Public Relations Group Captain Kabiru Ali in a statement on Thursday, September 12th. Ali said the terrorists were engaged after receipt of a request for air support from ground forces. According to Ali, the successful operation underscores the NAF's commitment to protecting the nation and supporting sister services and other security agencies in combating banditry, terrorism, insurgency, and all other forms of criminality. Now to discuss this, we are joined by security expert and Executive Director, Elixir Trust Foundation, Emmanuel Ikule. Emmanuel, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So let's start by asking you about the results of the airstrike influence. Do you think that it's going to influence the broader counter-terrorism strategy in Nigeria? Are there any adjustments or perhaps maybe shifts in tactics that are to be expected as a result of this?
For me, this is actually good news. At least for a long time, we have not heard any good news in the fight against terrorism. So this is a step in the right direction, and it's good that we have such a good news, especially at a time like this that we're looking for such a news in our trying moment. So for me, is to build on the successes. I have never doubted the capability of the military or the armed forces to actually be able to address these issues of terrorism in Nigeria. But as we keep hearing, it's a matter of the leaders actually giving them the right, the permission, the authority to actually go out there and be able to address these concerns once and for all. It's taking too long and a lot of persons are suffering too much. So for me, it's something that they can do. It's a matter of the permission and the right to proceed with what we already know they are capable of doing. If they have the right permission, I believe they have the tools to be able to do this. And kudos to them, they have been able to do this. Was able to reach a colleague in Niger and was very happy, appreciating them for the work they have done. They have all been abused for a long time. And these have actually addressed some of these concerns. So from us, it's a step in the right direction, and we encourage them to continue with this good work.
Okay, Mr. Ikule, let's ask about the intelligence gathering techniques that might be employed here. Are there new technologies perhaps that are being deployed to identify insurgents' activities that are also safe? Of course, we've heard of instances that sometimes these could go awry and there might be collateral damage. So what techniques are available currently?
I believe it's just community relations as regards to this particular intervention. In other locations, I know at different places like Yobe, there have been complaints that a manner at which security agencies have handled intel that have led to the loss of lives because some of these terrorists heard about the persons that actually give such intel or reported them, and they went back on such persons. But a community like Shiroro, they actually gave such information, and I believe the military worked with it. So if security agencies on their own, they can do little, but if they work with communities, I believe such intels will end up giving them more details into who are the persons as well as the location. Yes, tech is important, and such equipment will work, but still they need information from the ground. And such informations actually help because if they had ground soldiers working and they also informed the Navy to also carry out the airstrikes that ended up affecting or ended up killing those terrorists in such areas. So both information, that is why we always encourage that synergy in the fight against terrorism is pertinent.
So
alone, there's little or limitations to what an individual or a single law enforcement officers can do.
So you mentioned the communities and how they can aid, but how exactly is the Nigerian army supposed to engage with the local communities? Also noting that you mentioned the fact that there are cases where people have come out with information and are attacked after. Are you talking about special army personnel that infiltrate, or especially without being identified, or what exactly?
Okay. In every community, be it even though there are places we have the places where they have bandits, they still have people living in such areas. I, based on information that I saw online, they got information from online soldiers that were on ground for intervention, intervention by air for airstrikes. But at the same time, for you to go to any community, there are certain informations you get on ground and outside the soldiers because as we even we had a meeting today, we were even discussing um, these persons, they may not have those informations on their heads or their foreheads that these are terrorists. You get some information. Yes, they are soldiers on ground, but still there are informations that you get from the community. And that cannot be overemphasized because if you just feel you know, oh, I'm going to the community, end up killing even civilians in those areas. So certainly those informations are important. And in this particular situation, there were reports that they gave, and there have been complaints that they gave also that have ended up also playing a, no matter how little it is, ended up playing a role in this particular intervention. So people need to start speaking out, particularly when those areas are being terrorized, and also giving this information, no matter how little it is. We have to learn to trust our military or trust our law enforcement officers somehow, because we have to find a way, a common ground to work with them. If we don't work together, we will continue to suffer the brunt of this. And I believe those informations are pertinent in this fight against terrorism.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Mr. Emmanuel Ikule there, security expert and executive director, Elixir Trust Foundation. Moving on now, armed bandits have blocked the ever-busy Gusau-Funtua highway, kidnapping unspecified number of travelers. Yusuf Tafe, a commuter who is still stranded around the area, told newsmen that the bandits stormed the highway in the early hours of Thursday and mounted a roadblock around the Tazami axis of the road. According to him, the bandits, in their large numbers, with about 50 motorcycles, each carrying 3 persons, abducted an unspecified number of travelers. The Zamfara State Police Command spokesperson ASP Yazid Abubakar, when contacted, said that more troops, primarily members of the Niger Police Mobile Squad, had been sent to the impacted region to clear the road when contracted. Now let's stay in Zamfara State, where youths and underage children say their illegal artisanal mining of gold is not stopping anytime soon, except the government attends to the current economic hardships and unemployment in the country. The illegal miners, who spoke to News Central crew at the Chola mining site in Maru local government area of Zamfara, complained of how insecurity have impoverished them, making them lose their sources of livelihoods and finding it hard to access jobs. According to News Central's correspondent, most of the miners are underage children whose parents were killed by bandits in the region. Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals announced a clampdown on illegal miners across the country last year. We'll bring you the full part of that story in our subsequent bulletin. And now let's head to Borno State, where we understand that the catastrophic flood has displaced at least 414,000 people and claimed 30 lives. The disaster, triggered by the overflow of the Alao Dam after heavy rains, marks the city's worst flooding in 3 decades. The National Emergency Management Agency reports that over 23,000 households have been affected, with floodwaters inundating 70% of Maiduguri. Key locations, including the Shehu of Borno's Palace, the State Secretariat, and the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, have been severely damaged. The flood also devastated the Sandan Karimi Park Zoo, wiping out 80% of its animals. Water levels have begun to recede, but the impact remains profound. And in the meantime, Nigeria Governors Forum, led by its chairman Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, alongside Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Ondo Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, visited Borno State to extend their condolences and support following a devastating flood that has displaced thousands of families. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports that the delegation met with Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, and local officials to assess the damage and discuss immediate relief efforts.
Governor of Edo State, our brother, governors of Niger State, Edo State, and distinguished senators, members of National Assembly here present. Well, we're here today on behalf of the Nigerian Governors Forum to commiserate with the government and people of Boro State over the allowed dam bridge. Also to commend Mr. President for the quick reaction by dispatching the Vice President alongside him was NEMA and the Northeast Development Commission. On our part, the forum will do the needful to support our colleague. But from what we've seen in the media, it's truly a major disaster in which we would also love to see ourselves. We know the hardship and challenges that people will go through, and we know also that His Excellency is up to the task in making sure he brings succor to the people and turn things around immediately, as soon as possible. We just pray for Allah's guidance in this process and wish the people of the state good tidings and we pray for them. I know that strong challenges. People have been displaced from their homes, and we wish them well and continue to pray for them. Thank you very much.
Let's do a quick break now, and when the news returns, President Tinubu meets with King Charles III. We have the details after the break. Join us then. Welcome back. Now, President Bola Tinubu was warmly received on Wednesday in London by His Majesty King Charles III at Buckingham Palace for a private meeting, highlighting the enduring and cherished relationship between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. This will be the two leaders' first meeting since they met in Dubai at the COP28 Climate Summit last year. The latest meeting was at the King's request. Both leaders discussed global and regional matters of shared priorities, focusing on the urgent and complex challenge of climate change. President Tinubu and His Majesty also explored opportunities for collaboration in anticipation of the upcoming COP29 summit in Azerbaijan and the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. To politics now, the Labour Party's National Working Committee, led by Julius Abure, has called for an investigation into alleged fund mismanagement involving Aisha Yusufu, Pastor Itwa Ighodalo, Peter Obi, and Afenifere leaders. At a press conference in Abeokuta, National Publicity Secretary Abayomi Arabambi accused Yusufu and others of misappropriating over 12 billion naira and $15 million from the 2023 presidential campaign. Arabambi also implicated Afenifere leaders in retaining over 600 million naira in private accounts. He dismissed Yusufu's denials and demanded a thorough probe into all related bank accounts. Meanwhile, Obedient Movement's coordinator, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, dismissed the allegations as false, and Afenifere's deputy leader, Oba Oladipo Olaitan, has yet to comment. We now head to Edo State, where the People's Democratic Party has hinted it might not sign the peace accord for the Edo State governorship election, citing alleged police bias against them. Governor Godwin Obaseki expressed concerns during a meeting with General Abdulsalam Abubakar, chairman of the National Peace Committee in Benin City. Obaseki claimed that over 10 PDP leaders, including Esan West chairman Honorable Collins Aibogun, were arrested by police allegedly under APC influence. He criticized the police for bypassing local jurisdiction and not allowing due process. Obaseki has demanded the immediate release of these leaders and questioned how the PDP can sign a peace agreement with what he views as a partisan umpire.
I thought so until about the 17th of July, but the signals we've seen since the 17th of July suggest that there's bias, there's police bias in favor of a political party. And so that's why we're worried, you know. The police inspector general said now that They were arresting people who had committed offenses, or they thought had committed offenses, but they're not from one political party. But it's ironic that an incident happened. There were many people there, but it so transpires that it's just the arrests occur within the membership of one political party, when the instigators of that incident were from another political party. And all of us were watching TV that day. We saw the people carrying guns. None of those we saw on TV carrying guns and carrying pop actions have been arrested, regardless other petitions that have been written. So it's difficult for us to believe the IG that they are creating. He has given us a glib answer, which is okay. He's a smart man. So he has given a glib answer, but he has not given a right answer. It's not just for things to be done fairly, they need to be seen to have been done fairly. And so that's all we're saying. Many people cannot be involved in something, so to speak, and then you're only arresting people that are aggregated to one side. And people aggregated to the other side are not arrested. And you say you're not biased. And you say it's not free or fair. So that's all, We need, the things need to be seen to be properly done. That's all. The party were extremely well prepared. I personally were well prepared. We've worked hard. We've gone all through the length and breadth of the state. We've canvassed. We've talked to our people. We've campaigned. We've gone to we've worked extremely hard. We've gone through the whole state at least twice, each ward, each local government. So we worked hard, extremely, and we're ready.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, announced that the commission will intensify monitoring of bank transactions to block funds from reaching criminals, including bandits and terrorists. Speaking at the 2024 Annual Civil Military Conference in Abuja, Olukoyede linked corruption to insecurity, noting that corruption fuels poverty, which can lead to higher recruitment into criminal activities. Represented by Wilson Uwarajan, Olukoyede emphasized the need to address corruption to improve national security and development. Meanwhile, Minister of State for Police Affairs, Imam Ibrahim, called for a collective effort from all Nigerians to combat insecurity, urging everyone to work together with law enforcement agencies. Away from that now, a group of pensioners on the Ages of Abia Pensioners Forum have urged Governor Alex Otti to pay their gratuities and pension arrears purportedly written off by the government. Spokesperson and coordinator of the forum, Chukwuemeka Okeze, at a press briefing, said it was wrong for the government to enter into a memorandum of agreement with pensioners at a time when they were most vulnerable. He accused the leadership of Nigerian Union of Pensioners in the state of compromise, saying it couldn't have negotiated their gratuities and pensions, which he said are personal. The forum therefore called on Governor Otti to rescind the memorandum of agreement and begin payment of the arrears in installments. In a quick response, Commissioner for Information in the state, Kano, said the pensioners ought to have challenged their complaints, or rather channeled their complaints, to the appropriate quarters.
On assumption of office, His Excellency started paying half pension. Even after the verification exercise of pensioners, this practice continued. Pensioners therefore started wondering how someone who promised to clear the arrears of pension could start piling up his own arrears. That was the first red flag to pensioners. Regrettably, the anticlimax of our expectation came in March 2024, when we started receiving alerts for the purported arrears of pension. Lo and behold, it became a case of total disappointment for most pensioners, especially those whose arrears ran up to 40, 50, or 60 months.
I hope this is not a dissident group within the Abia pensioners, okay? That's going to go and meet, and they are talking of trying. In fact, it sounds as if they are trying to blackmail government. And it's very unfortunate to hear this, because they have channels to reach out to those who are responsible for issues concerning their welfare in government. So this group of people, I'm surprised to hear them talk about government not keeping to the terms of agreement that government have with pensioners, when ordinarily another group of pensioners are singing the praises of the governor and the government he leads, to the effect that the pensioners have been paid their arrears, and since April they've been receiving their full monthly.
Away from that now, the Kaduna State Civil Service Commission says that it has adopted measures to specially recognize persons with disabilities in its upcoming civil and public servants promotional examinations in all local government areas of the state. The chairman of the commission, while informing newsmen that the exercise will take place this September, says that gender inclusion will also be given priority. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, files this report.
About 3,391 persons will be participating in the upcoming promotional examination for civil servants in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. This, according to the State Civil Service, will focus on selecting competent and deserving personnel from the 23 local government areas of the state, with special consideration to be given to women and persons with disabilities.
It's gender balance. We make sure that we have adequately taken care of the gender issue in the state. And then the fourth and last criteria we do is the disability factor. We give space and prepare for competent candidate with disability. This one is irrespective of the local government.
We are being tasked to clear the backlog by getting those that deserve to be promoted as at when due. The commission is equally conscious of the fact that only deserving in terms of disciplinary and other conduct are considered.
Civil servants in the state have, however, been tasked to prepare ahead of the exercise to take advantage of the opportunity.
Interviews or exams, some people, you don't find them in the register for some reason or the other. And after the exercise, then we are flooded with questions, petitions that they are omitted. All the civil servants know that we are commencing this exercise. And all the ministries and the MDS have been informed and are aware.
While about 9 persons have so far been dismissed over gross misconduct in the ongoing disciplinary cases by the State Civil Service, the exercise is aimed at boosting morale and motivating diligent and dedicated civil servants.
To help matters now, parents, once burdened by the stigma and financial strain of caring for a child with a limb deformity, can now focus on building a brighter future for their loved ones. This was made possible by the Lagos State government's Limb Deformity Correction Surgery program, which has continued to transform the lives of countless children born with congenital limb deformities. News Central Ibalani Omoni reports.
A remarkable medical program is underway at the Gbagada General Hospital in Lagos to transform the lives of individuals born with limb deformities. According to statistics, over 10,000 children in Lagos alone are living with limb deformities, while nationwide the number swells to a staggering 50,000. These congenital conditions such as clubfoot and bowed legs can severely impact a person's mobility, confidence and overall quality of life. But today, hope is on the horizon.
The procedure involves the surgeon cutting through the shin bone below the knee, amongst other procedures, and reshaping it to fix the alignment.
It's better off when they are still quite young. What I will advise that immediately they notice this, let them come to any of the 30 general hospitals. Come there. Of course, if they don't have an orthopedics unit there, they will refer them. Now, of course, for those that need immediate surgery, that will be done right there and then. But for those that can wait and possibly don't have the money, then they can wait for this to be corrected for them, free of charge to them, everything.
Since its inception in 2007, this initiative has provided free corrective surgeries to hundreds of youngsters, restoring their mobility, confidence, and overall well-being.
So what we do is we collect lists from all our health facilities on people that have these lower limb deformities and are requiring surgery, and then we invite them for screening. And I just must point out that for some people it's one limb we're doing, for some people it's 2 limbs that we're doing. What we're looking at doing is over the next 3 years to do about 1,000 of these patients, and we're doing 50 in this batch today.
The Lagos State government speaks about more initiatives and its plan to improve access to healthcare.
Beyond the limb correction surgeries, we have eye surgeries that we do for corneal surgeries and then cataract surgeries as well. We have ear deformity surgeries that we do, as well as giving hearing aids to people. We do limb prosthesis as well.
It is important for us to create more channels for people to be able to access care. And we know how that today, more opportunities that can be created for people, the better for them. And because we're also looking at the long-term impact of this.
As the program continues to grow and expand its reach, hundreds more children are expected to benefit from these life-changing surgeries. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Igbalani Omoni.
The U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, and Nigeria's Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, are both excited about the possibilities that lay ahead for Nigeria's youthful population with the use of artificial intelligence, AI. They both made this statement at the Global Inclusivity and AI Africa Conference in Lagos, where stakeholders gathered to discuss the possibilities and challenges of using AI in the creative sector. News Central's Bernard Akede has more.
Artificial intelligence has come to stay. The sooner we embrace it and make good use of it, the better for us all.
The best way is for us to show...
This was the crux of the discussion at the Global Inclusivity and AI Africa Conference in Lagos. Over 300 stakeholders, including senior officials from the United States and across Africa, private sector executives, civil society members, and people from the academia all gathered to discuss how the Nigerian youth can use the power of AI to their advantage in the creative sector. In the past few years, there have been conversations surrounding harnessing the power of AI in Africa, with Nigeria being the focal point of the conversations.
It is a bit of a surprise because I said you've got a very creative tech industry here, a bright young population that understands technology and wants to move forward. I think part of it is just bringing to the world's attention what's available here and the talent that's here. And that's what this conference was intended to do, to make sure the rest of the world knew what Lagos can offer.
However, with the optimism of AI also comes skepticisms from naysayers who believe AI will replace humans and leads to mass unemployment. This was addressed by the Honorable Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, who believes that the positives far outweigh the negatives.
I think rather than even seeing it that way, I think AI can actually enhance growth and job creation and the expansion, all the different expansion, the different initiatives that we're looking to do. I'm really interested and really excited to see, the joining and the partnership, the collaboration between technology, innovation, creativity, culture, to see how we can really sort of open up the envelope in how we really tap different ways of expression. So I think AI, rather than taking away jobs, I think we can find a way that it will enhance growth within the sector.
According to the minister, the achievements of Nigeria's youthful population in the creative sector has caught the attention of the rest of the world. She believes with the right use of AI and support from the likes of the US government, the possibilities are limitless. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
And you're welcome back. The news continues in West Africa, where Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has vowed to relentlessly track down migrant traffickers a day after news that at least 35 people had drowned off West Africa. Faye, elected in March, called on the country's young people to stay in Senegal rather than fall for the illusion of a better future elsewhere. He adds that the government is working non-stop on policies to tackle youth unemployment in the country, and a hotline will be set up to which people can report the activities of such traffickers.
Aux familles, c'est avec une immense tristesse que je me tiens ici aujourd'hui, face à cette tragédie humaine qui nous bouleverse tous. La nation est en deuil et la situation est particulièrement insoutenable. Je voudrais, au nom de cette nation, la nation sénégalaise, présenter mes condoléances aux familles éplorées. Ce qui est arrivé ici à Mbour, qui est arrivé quelque peu partout sur les côtes du Sénégal, est le fait des filières de migration qui sont, il faut le dire, dans le trafic d'êtres humains, qui exploitent le désespoir de cette jeunesse et qui leur vendent le rêve d'un avenir meilleur. Mais je voudrais dire que la traque sans répit contre ces vendeurs d'illusions, ces vendeurs de la mort, va s'intensifier dès à présent.
And the Commissioner for Gender Equality is hosting a conference in Johannesburg to assess the strides, constraints and challenges that remain a hindrance to the attainment of gender equality in the country since the advent of democracy. As per its legislative mandate, the Commission is obligated to help strengthen and deepen democracy to ensure a society free from all forms of gender oppression and inequality. The aim of the conference is to reflect on progress made toward the attainment of gender equality during the 3 decades of democracy in South Africa. The conference will also chart a path forward to advance gender equality. News Central's Bongani Sisiba gives us more.
In a nation where the fight for gender equality continues to unfold, South Africa turns its eyes to the pivotal moment, as this gathering is not designed just to assess the progress, but to amplify diverse voices working towards a common goal of the true gender equality.
So South Africa has come a long way in trying to close the gender gap. We know that, inequality remains one of the issues that we are struggling to resolve as a country. Women and black women, for that matter, remain the face of poverty, the face of illnesses like HIV, the face of gender-based violence. And for us to be in a democratic country 30 years later and we still have these issues that are unresolved means a lot to women.
Panelists also represented a tapestry of experiences and perspectives, all united in the quest for gender equality. Each voice brings a unique narrative that sheds light on both advancement and the barriers that persist.
We have achieved a lot. Just now there was somebody talking there about the National Strategic Plan. However, there's still a whole lot more to be done, considering the high levels of the scourge, particularly GBV.
Despite progress, millions of women still face daily violence and discrimination.
So when I was 17, I was sterilized. My uterus was stolen, and I'm using the word stolen because I was not told. I only discovered that I didn't have a uterus 11 years. And it's been quite a number of years to this day. I still don't know why I was sterilized.
They are failing us since they haven't had obstetric violence on their system, because we've been speaking about this a lot for years, where a lot of women that were sterilized in the government hospital, and they know about this. We've been speaking like every time when they have this conference, we're telling them.
This engagement is vital to provide a platform for different voices, create space for open dialogue, and cultivate understanding and collaboration among stakeholders. The gender-based violence data reveals a stark truth. Women in South Africa experience some of the highest rates of gender-based violence in the world. while the gender pay gap continues to stifle economic growth and individual potential.
We've got the highest gender-based violence. That in itself make women not to get in access into different positions of power. You find that they cannot go to work, especially at night, as they are afraid to be killed or raped. The highest gender-based violence, we see sexual harassment has increased. In institutions of higher learning, we are told that young women have to sell their bodies to get marks. Sexual harassment in workplaces is high. Those are the biggest challenges for women.
These discussions are a reminder that change doesn't happen overnight. Each conversation, each shared story contributes to the broader movement. Together, these stakeholders are cultivating strategies that reach deep into the community.
We're raising boys. Boys are growing up without a father. They're growing up.
Welcome back. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, has confirmed that 6 of its employees were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a school it operates in central Gaza. UNRWA stated that this attack represents the highest death toll among its staff in a single incident since the outbreak of the conflict between Israel and Hamas in October. The agency also noted that this was the first time, or rather the 5th time, the school located in the Nurisrat refugee camp had been hit in the past 11 months. Gaza's Hamas-run civil defense agency reported that a total of 18 people were killed in Wednesday's strike on Al-Jurni school, which is currently sheltering thousands of displaced Palestinians. By our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, good afternoon. Good to have you here.
Good afternoon.
Okay, Afia, tell us what's the latest on that region. What are we seeing currently happening?
Well, people have been going through the rubble of that Al-Jawani school, inspecting the ground floor of that structure, as well as the adjoining structure as well. Now, footage has shown ambulances taking men, women, and children to safety. Now, survivors have been talking about stepping over shredded limbs as they scramble over the rubble. Others talking about how this has been going on for 340 days. It's like something out of a Hollywood movie, they say, but it's like real life. And of course, those UN workers that have been killed in that attack as well. It's thought that 220 UNRWA workers have been killed in Gaza so far.
Yes, and about this UNRWA workers that have been killed, what has been the response from the agency and the family especially? How have they been handling what's happened so far?
Well, in a post on social media, the UNRWA, that's the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine in the Near East, they said 6 colleagues killed today when 2 airstrikes hit a school and its surrounding areas. This is the highest death toll amongst our staff in a single incident. Amongst those kills was a manager of the UNRWA shelter and other team members providing assistance to displaced peoples. Sincerest condolences to the family and their loved ones. The school has been hit 5 times, as you so rightly said, since the war began, and they also talked about 12,000 displaced people and nobody is spared. Now, the Palestinian health minister said yesterday that 41,084 Palestinians have been killed during the war and over 95,000 injured.
Let's talk about ceasefire. Are we getting any closer to a ceasefire deal so far?
Well, Anthony Blinken would like us to think that we are 90% there. He said that at a press conference here in London whilst talking with the Foreign Secretary David Lammy. He said the US has been working with Egyptian and Qatari counterparts, and they have 90% agreed a phased deal that would see the release of hostages and it would see a cessation of any hostilities for a period of time at least. But Mr. Blinken went on to say that the three countries still have to work together to bridge any remaining gaps, and very soon the proposed deal will be on the table. Mr. Blinken said that he's working on making sure that everybody is completely aligned so that this deal can go through.
Well then, thank you very much, Afia. That will be all this moment. We'll see you in other bulletins. Thank you. And that will be all this hour that we bring for you on the news. But before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. Nigerian Air Force airstrike have killed 28 terrorists in Niger State. And President Tinubu has met with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace. We also told you that Senegal President Diomaye Faye has vowed to hunt down migrant traffickers. Remember, you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.